I had to pull her back out for this. That thing's just looking really good. And of course everybody knows the rug, but maybe some of the new people don't know about that tractor, and that is the little Mule. I haven't started this tractor up in 2 years. So today I went over to my Walmartski and got a new battery for it. It was put away correctly. It's only been it's been only run on Sunoco fuel, race fuel, but and True Fuel, I should say, also. You know, it in theory we should be able to dig it out, put a battery in it. As long as the electric fuel pump turns on, this old girl should start right back up. So let me get it out of its resting place here for the last 2 years, and I'll go over what the tractor is for the newer individuals that have graciously subscribed to my channel. Before I jump onto the little Mule, I went ahead and put all my junk back in the shed. My 59 has now taken over the little Mule's parking spot, and as you can tell, probably not going to get moved for a while. Situated the little rug in this little area so that way I could get the senior in and out of the shed fairly easy without having to move anything around. I'm going to take those wheel weights to the Wheel Horse show. Those are going to be for sale. That fender pan is actually the original fender pan from the little Mule. It's an 857 fender pan. I'm going to try to sell that too. So there's going to be some things I'm going to pick and choose throughout here to bring to the Wheel Horse show, just to kind of lighten the load a little bit, because I got a lot of junk in here. But for those who have graciously just subscribed to my channel, you may not know the who, what, where, when, and why of the little Mule. Alright, so what is the little Mule? The little Mule started life off as a Wheel Horse 857, so 8 horsepower electric start, 1967, 3-speed transmission. The only pieces on this tractor right now that are original from the 857 that I started with is the hood, the front section of the frame, and the tower. The like seat pan tower thing. Other than that, everything else is from a different tractor. Real brief, what is it? What makes up this tractor? Number one, it has been swapped from an 8 horsepower single cylinder Kohler engine to a 16 horsepower single cylinder Kohler engine. I have also added a 416 model 8-speed transmission. I've also put the underdrive or undergeared steering from like a 520. Also put the bigger spindles and bigger 520 rims on it. We have the actual end-link style front end, which goes with the undergeared steering. I have the original steering wheel on the tractor, so I modified all that. There's videos on my channel showing how I did all of that stuff. With the 416 rear, the rear tires were spaced out a little bit further than a stock 857, so I took another fender pan, and what I did was I stretched it in 2 areas. I stretched it here and I stretched it there. I think it was almost 2 inches, in order to get the edge of the fenders to line up with the center of the tires. So it gets gives it a really good meaty look. Obviously I've added lights. That's not original to the tractor. I got these 2 rear spotlights in the back. There's also a tail light, a red tail light up underneath. Actually, can you see it? It's up underneath there, so it glows red when you turn the lights on. I also have these headlights, which have been converted to LEDs. All the lights are LEDs, so that way it doesn't draw a whole lot of power. Has a GT14 intake, which has been ported. Pop the hood. You can see it's a tight fit in there. Oh, yeah, I have painted that red, white, and blue also. But yeah, no, it's a tight fit to get that engine in there. One of the things I did originally, to get a big block single cylinder, you have to set these short frame tractors up with like a 1045 oil pan. But because I have a Magnum, the 1045 oil pan's right here, okay? It's much not as long as a Magnum oil pan, so I had to make this adapter plate so I could bolt the standard K-series oil pan to the Magnum block, you know, because it's the thin style, okay? It's not the deep well, it's the thin well oil pan, so it will fit under the hood of an 857. I had some leaking problems with that, so what I did was I went ahead, bought a block of aluminum off of eBay, brought it over to my buddy's machine shop, put it in the milling machine, and I made my own thin line oil pan. I tapered the floor so it could drain out the oil. Seems to work pretty well. Leaks a little oil. All my engines leak oil, so it doesn't really, like, I don't care. So that, there's so many things that I did to this tractor as I'm looking at. Obviously you got a foot throttle on it. I have the 416 muffler, which I hollowed out, and then I relocated the inlet so that way I can close, that way it would look correct on the 857 hood. The other thing we've done is we went ahead and upgraded to an electric fuel pump, hardline. So it's still carbureted. So that's all been done. What else do we do? Ah, geez, I don't even know. There's just so many. Oh, I will get to the fender pan in a second again, but it had an NOS dash. This was an NOS lighter. It all works. The 2 switches, the one that has the red is the fuel pump. So I can turn the electric fuel pump on and off. And this is for the lights itself. I put the choke in the choke area. You set the choke, turn on your fuel pump. Obviously it's got to be an accessory first. Set your choke, turn on the fuel pump, hit the starter. Usually it starts right up. Like I said, it's a 8-speed now. I just cut the slot for the short shifter, so, or the small shifter to go from high-low, and then your standard, you know, standard pattern in the, from the wheel horse. I did go ahead and cut the main shifter to get it down lower because I didn't want it way up top here. But it's a lot more comfortable for that. The other thing I did too, just noticing if you didn't, I made the 857 steering shaft a little bit taller. They're like, usually the bottom of the steering wheel is like right about here. It's hard if you have longer legs, especially with the foot throttle. You know, your knees constantly banging onto the steering wheel. So I raised the steering wheel up just a hair. You really can't, you know, when the hood's down and latched, you really can't tell. 520 rims, powder coated sandstone, so that way that looks right. I did take one of the stirrups, foot pedals, or foot, you know, whatever you want to call them, foot pads, and I did modify it so you could have this on there, even though it has the foot throttle. You have your standard 857 foot stirrup. I did it modify this a little bit so that way we can get around the bigger motor. Yeah, there's just a whole bunch of things that I did. Obviously, I painted the American flag just using Duplicolor rattle can paints. I think I personally like it. And then I hand painted the little mule on the back axles. You know, it's a show tractor. My brother's father-in-law redid the seat for me, so it looks, I like it, it's real nice and plush. One thing I do like, it's been a number of years that I've done this. It's probably maybe, what, 5 years ago I did this, and it's just starting to check crack. I don't know if you can see that, like right around in here. So it's starting to check crack, which I like, actually, because kind of, it's like self-making itself, like the rest of the patina of the tractor. All right, let's go ahead. Let's get this thing pushed into the garage. We'll go over the wiring system, make sure no mice have made any homes in there. We'll get the battery, we'll get some fuel. I will need to, I'll check the oil, we'll get it started. Then I'll change the oil, and then I'll have to clean and re-oil the air filter. And a little bit of grease here and there, and this thing should be ready to rock and roll. Got her here in the garage. We're gonna go through the basics. Check the oil, make sure the engine spins by hand a little bit, just to make sure. It should be fine. What else? Pretty much that's it. Put the battery in it, and we'll test to make sure the electric fuel pump turns on. I can't see what could go wrong other than everything. Okay, so quick preliminary once over just to make sure everything was fine. Put with fuel in it. I got the in my little description, one of the things I did, because the under geared steering is on this tractor, and because of the 16 horsepower engine, you can't get a battery in there, so I relocated the battery here in the back. I just took the battery tray that was on the 857 right there, that's right what this hole was for, and I just drilled a couple holes in the back plate here and bolted it right into place. So, and then the back strap holds the battery in place. For right now, I just got it in there. I hooked up the cables, made sure we didn't have any sparks initially. So there wasn't theoretically any short circuits. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this down because we don't need that open quite yet. If we go ahead and we go click this up to accessory, and I hit this button, oh yeah, there it is. The little blue light comes on. The rear lights are on. The red light is on. And we have the headlights on. So in theory, none of the wires are messed up there. If we take the fuel pump, I have the petcock open on the gas tank. This should be like a fast clicking noise, and it should be, yep, okay, that sounds like it's under load. Let's make sure we don't have any drips. Does not appear. It definitely needs an oil change, so I'm not going to be letting this thing run for too long. But I think what we're going to do here is we're going to check for neutral, which we're in. Ignition is on. Let's set the choke. Let's turn on the fuel pump. There we go. Come on, babe. Ooh, she's idling kind of low. Let's see where. Might need a little carburetor work here, but let's see if we can just get her warmed up. hasn't been, like I said, this is the first time in 2 years that this tractor's been started. I love how I took the balance gears out of the motor. I don't know if you can see it, but this thing, the whole tractor jumps while it's on idle. All right, I'm just gonna let this thing idle out for a few minutes or a minute or two, and then see if it clears itself up. Okay, so I have had it running for a little bit. I think the carburetor needs to be looked at because it seems to be running really rich. For example, I'm going to go ahead and start it up as soon. Now the engine's hot, okay, so it's fully warmed up. There's no need to have any choke. I'm going to go ahead, turn the ignition on, click the fuel pump on, and then hit the key, and you're going to see a puff of black smoke come out. So here we go. You see that? And when I step on it, it'll blow out some black smoke too. So I think the carburetor needs a little bit of work. Maybe the needle, I think this might have one of those rubber. This might have one of those rubber float needle, and maybe it's not, and maybe it needs to be replaced. It has been 2 years since this thing's been run. So I think what we're going to do right now, though, is I am going to dump the oil and change the oil, get that freshened up, and I'm going to start it up. You know what? I'm not even going to, if it's running rich, I'm not going to change the oil quite yet. What I think we're going to do is I'm going to just start it up again, make sure that it's charging the battery. So I know that that is the last system to check. And then the next thing we'll do, or next thing I'll do, is I'm going to pop this carburetor off, unfortunately, because that is a total pain in the ass. But we'll go ahead, get that carburetor off the motor, and then I'll break it apart. Okay, just before I wrap this video up, I thought what I would do is I would just give maybe the carburetor a little tweak. And that's exactly what I did. I took a little bit of fuel out of the idle circuit with that screw right there. And I took a little bit of fuel out of the main jet. And it seems to have cleared itself up. So let me turn the, I know volume-wise, my voice might get a little low because I'm going to try to lower the volume of the video so you don't blow your ears out listening to this stupid thing. So I got the ignition on, pump's going to go on. No smoke. And then when I step on it, I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to leave it like that for now. I'm going to go ahead and change the oil and get that done right now because it's nice and warm. I'll be honest, I just didn't want to tear this all apart because this is kind of a pain in the neck the way I have it set up. I mean, it's set up standard, but you know, you got this rod, that rod. You got to take off all of this, which means you got to disconnect the foot throttle. It becomes a kind of a, I mean, if I got to do it, I got to do it. But for right now, I think it's all right. All right, guys. Wow. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead. Oh, I got to clean this up too. Clean this all out and change the oil right now. Clean the air filter. I checked the stator and the rectifier. The battery is charging. I need to get a bolt for the battery to hold that down. Do a little greasing. And the theory is here where I'm going to be taking this RJ35 to the Wheel Horse Show. The July Zagre Farm Show, the Little Mule, is going to make its another debut appearance. All right. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And to the individuals who have just subscribed to my channel, if you were looking for more senior content, that is coming very shortly. And to all the regular individuals that watch my videos, thank you so much for your support. I really do appreciate it. Next video will be soon. We're going to be talking about the Wheel Horse Show in general and getting prepared for that. All right. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this one, just to rekindle our youth with the Little Mule. Until the next project, you have a great day.